I told you guys, two things can be true at the same time. Two things can be true at the same time. You know, you take a look at the sex and the gender. That was so easy to solve. Your sex is your sexual organs that you're born with. Right? And your gender could also be your sexual organs. So your sex, right? But your sex cannot be your gender. Your gender is rainbow, sherbet, unicorn. That's your gender. Okay? Your gender is them, they. Your sex cannot be them, they, rainbow, sherbet, unicorn. It's just as simple as that. Two things can be true at the same time. You understand? Two things can be true at the same time. Because words have more than one definition. And this stuff that I'm doing here, looking up computer stuff, I didn't take computer science. Okay? Shut up. I didn't take computer science. Well, settle down there, Wave. I had a song called The Wave. Take a look at my playlist, please and thank you. Okay? So I'm working on 2 properties, but guess what? I busted them. They're trying to erase me. Okay? This is organized 100%. They are trying to erase me. They're not only going to erase me, but they're going to attribute my work to somebody else. And I discovered it. It was in the government phone that they gave me for being on welfare, which I deserve. Not that I deserve. You pay into the system, you can tap back into it, right? So, you know, right? I know people have been collecting welfare their whole life. I'm not going to say nothing about them. You know, I'm not going to say, you know, anything about dealing drugs and all that stuff and, you know, like stalking people and having, you know, detectives come out and talk to you, but yet you can, you know, you could smoke your peace pipe and trash a city. Okay, well, you do that. I'm not going to say anything about that. Why? Because I'm talking about me. They're going to steal my stuff and they're going to attribute it to somebody else. It's right on my computer. And I busted them. And it came from the government phone. That's what it came from. Two things can be true at the same time. Two things can be true at the same time. I didn't leave Detroit because of some fucking white pride skin bullshit. Right? I didn't leave Detroit because my girlfriend broke up with me. Right? But what else happened? Oh, I didn't leave Detroit because I cashed in my insurance or whatever it was. I cashed in my 401k. Because if I could go back in time and do it all over again, I would only do one thing only. I would start a record label in Detroit. And that's going in my property, 2-legged animal. It's right here. I'm going to have 2 properties. One's called LA 2044. And I'm sorry I didn't grow up here. I love to live and die in LA. I love that movie. And who was that actor? What was he doing? He was banging his CI. He was banging his CI, right? And then he fucking, what did he do? The cop in To Live and Die in LA? He fucking robbed somebody. He fucking killed somebody. Right? That's a great film. That's a great film, man. We all know that. Oh, yeah. Two things can be true at the same time. Let me tell you something. The truth will not set you free. Okay? That's bullshit. I'm here to tell you. You take me to task. Well, you got a comment section down there. Boy, these guys can go around painting cash for smells all over New York City when I'm there working and contributing to society. But that's your soldier. That's your Turner Diary soldier. There you go. You got him. Then you got him. That's your playbook, not mine. That's not my playbook. Right? Two things can be true at the same time. Ain't that right? Oh, I had an old-fashioned coffee this morning. That's why Clifton was trying to erase all of his pictures off my computer. I told you they're tied in with corrupt cops. I told you, man. Right? And I told you I'm writing LA 2044. But I made a discovery. I made 2 discoveries. Right? And you can't conflate the 2 because they're 2 separate things. They are trying to steal my stuff. And they are trying to attribute it to somebody else. They're going to give it to somebody else. And they're going to say, oh, this person thought of it. That's what they're going to do. I mean, or they could say, oh, yeah, it was this weird guy from Detroit. Yeah, he's dead now. Ain't that right? Ain't that right? You better kill me, motherfucker. You better kill me. Right? And then I've been threatened, we're going to turn you into the new Manson because my songs were never released. They did that one too. They've also been trying to get me up to a property up here, to a house, because they know I don't have a house. They'll catch you squatting up there. That's all they want. That's what they're looking for. That's what the guy said to me. I told you they run black and whites. Racism is fake. Tell me it's real. It's real for you. Congratulations. Yeah, because you're supposed to identify with your family, not with a bunch of chuckleheads out here. Right? Because you identify with your family, not a bunch of chuckleheads. Right? I was doing this thing when I first started making videos a long time ago. I was like, yeah, who's your shot caller? Right? Right? It's like you're all lined up. Yeah, who wants to be the leader? You know, it's like everybody steps one step back and you're out there. Oh, look at me. Boy, I guess I'm the leader. Right? Right? They killed John Gotti. Right? He died of a toothache. Right? But you know what it sounds like to me? That sounds like to me, who's the big reggae singer? He died of a fucking cancer in his toe. Who's that guy? I can't think of his name. The biggest Bob Marley, biggest reggae guy there is. Right? Yeah. Right? Ain't that right? You guys want to talk about John Lennon? I'll do that because I got to show you something. I'm going to, right? Right? I was a little bit out of it in the Tiny Homes episode. Thank you for watching that. Let's get more views than other stuff. Right? You guys want to talk about John Lennon a little bit? I told you I want to talk about that. Yeah, I'm hyped up, man. I had good, like Maxwell House the coffee this morning. I missed my Starbucks. So I told you there was numerous reasons why I left Detroit. Man, I worked so hard. People don't have any fucking clue. Okay? And I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about me, man. I worked hard. People don't understand the amount of calories you burn reading and writing and thinking and contemplating. Okay? When you get older, you get smarter. When you get older, you don't get stupider. Okay? Anyone can make a mistake. Anyone can get duped. Right? We all can get duped. It doesn't matter your intelligence quotient. You can get played. And they've been trying to play me for a long time, and they keep going. Well, so do I. You can call me Energizer, Bunny. Right? EB. Right? I'm the Energizer Bunny, motherfucker. Oh, yeah. I fuck like a rabbit, too. Okay, I'm done. All done. See ya. I told you to catch the wild hare, you know? And catch the wild hare. It means become possessed by the spirit of a rabbit. Because I changed it. Because people would say, oh, he's got a wild hair up his ass. Okay? Come on, man. That's like it's having a boil on your ass. Right? It's like lighting a fire under your ass. It's kind of the same thing. Right? But I say catch the wild hare. Right? Because the rabbit done died. You know why he said that? Because they used to use rabbits when girls would get an abortion. They had to use a rabbit. You know why they got rid of Roe versus Wade? Because they have the abortion pill now. That's why. Okay? So there's an exoteric on the outside and there's an esoteric on the inside. The exoteric is like, oh my God. It's like, like not just, people who read the newspaper and believe what they read, the Philistines. It's about, I hope we're back. I had to pause it. As I was saying, two things can be true at the same time. Two things can be true at the same time. They are trying to erase me. They're trying to erase my work, and they're going to give it to somebody else. They're going to say that they thought of it. Okay? Again, right? So, in addition to that, now that's what I discovered. That was on my government phone. This is why these guys were acting so smug. I told you they run with corrupt police officers. But there's something more than that. Right? It's called Symlink. Take a look at it. It's called Symlink. Symlink. Okay? Oh man, I was going to say, if I forgot my snot rags, I'd be in trouble. Every morning my nose runs like the devil. Okay? Oh yeah. It's called Symlink. It's in people's phones. This is what I was trying to tell you guys, that I'm running into these people. I'm like, where the fuck are these people coming from? It's called Symlink, and it's in people's phones. And they're also, all right, I don't want to get too into it because I have to do a little bit more. That'll be the next episode. I like spastic episodes. I said put it at 1.5 while you drive, 2.5 while you drive, whatever you want to listen to. Right? I like jumping around from topic to topic. And I was going to do half an episode where I could talk more about LA 2044, and I want to. Okay? Maybe I'll get to that. But two things can be true at the same time, is what I'm trying to tell you. This is what Marshall McLuhan was wondering about when he's saying, why are all these Westerns on TV? That's because the red man isn't the red man. That's not who the red man is. You understand? That's not who the red man is. Those people would confer with the red man. They were talking about the red man. So when it came time to, they just started referring to them as the red man because the American Indians were talking about the red man. The Plains Indians. And I say things that are hyperbolic. Take me to task. It's crazy, man. I'm not getting attacked by AI bots or anything. Right? Hey, sorry, man. I'm going to have to blow my nose. It's just the way it is. Right? So, you want to talk about John Lennon? Let's talk about John Lennon. Now, he was not my favorite Beatle. He was at first. And then I came to the realization that, Paul was writing all these songs. Like, you look at his work, and I was comparing it, like, around the time I was leaving the record store. I worked for Harmony House Records. I told you I wanted to work at the classical store, but because I wasn't being challenged enough. That's why, man. People are hungry, Again, okay, so, right? So I was just kind of like, and I got into punk rock when I was listening to the Beatles. And, one of the bands, the Meatmen, had a song called 1 Down, 3 to Go. And they were putting down the Beatles. And that was brutal, man. I was just like, whoa. I'm like, that's like, when I'm a little kid and I just gave up classic rock and I heard that, I'm like, wow, that's harsh, man, But again, they're just making fun of it, right? They're being harsh. And what a lot of people don't understand, because for whatever reason, it's okay for gangster rappers to talk about how they grew up and what they thought, and they see the violence against women especially, right? That's okay for them to do that, throwing around the N-word and all this kind of ridiculous stuff, right? Right? But what was us punk rockers doing? Right? We were doing the same thing. I was doing the same thing. I wrote a song called Hank's Lounge, okay? And it was based on a newspaper article. Who knows? The newspaper article was probably bullshit. I don't know. I got so many smug assholes coming around me guffawing, including my wife. That's brutal, man. So I was talking about John Lennon. And there was a time between his wife and child, right? And Yoko Ono, right? Well, there was a time there where he's falling out of love with his wife. And I feel bad. For whatever reason, people fall out of love with each other. It happens, right? We only hurt the ones we love, right? I understand ambivalence. But if I was being harassed and gang stalked, I'd expect someone to tell me. So when I call you out by name and, I consider it attempted murder, there is a reason behind that. But there's also, guess what? Symlink, right? Where it's like I'm doing something on it runs deeper than right? So I'm getting off of Facebook and someone comes on and tries to friend me to keep me on Facebook. That's why they friended me. Try to friend me to keep me on. Now, whether that person was conscious of what they were doing or not, or maybe that idea popped in their head. That's how dangerous this stuff is. And that's what those involved are using and utilizing. Your cell phone. I told you people were coming up to me. Right? So John Lennon is in between women. And you don't really hear too much about this. And I'm not trying to put him down. But I said, man, I never solicited, me getting my dick sucked. Right? They were soliciting it from me. Right? And then the one time I did it, the very first time, it was a setup by the police department. And that's what they used. That's why they ran around, put up cash for smells everywhere. They think they're funny. You can laugh all fucking day long. I don't care. I'm busy. I'm busy doing this over here. Right? So there's this time, and because John Lennon, you don't know who's attractive and who's not attractive. Let me tell you something. Who doesn't look in the mirror and see their flaws? Right? I sit up here and I'm like, boy, I have one hair. Boy, I never brushed my hair before. I never combed my hair. When I got into punk rock, I threw some gel in that shit and I was done. I was out the door. Right? It does whatever it does. Right? But when we look in the mirror, we see our flaws. We do not see, what other people see. You fall in love with somebody, they don't fall in love with you back. That's okay. Unlike the guy putting up cash for smells all over New York who likes to stalk his girlfriend, his one and only girlfriend, for 30 years. Unlike that. 30 years he stalked this one girlfriend. He never had a girlfriend. Cash for smells, ain't that right? Bitch bones. Yeah, I got you, motherfucker. Right? He's in the Turner Diaries playbook. Go take a look. So is Kanye West. I told you. Tarantino took Kanye West's idea. What do you think? I'm fucking stupid? Like I talk about him and Roger Avery. Hey, man, I ain't got a friend in the fucking world. I ain't got a friend in the world. I ain't walking around like I'm friends with somebody. Right? I like my show when I jump around. I like it. I'm going to do a different one pretty soon. I'll do a different type of show. Right? And don't let me forget, I want to tell you a story about Bronco Lustig. He was a producer. And I worked with him. See, they didn't put me in the credits on Peacemaker. I'm not in the credits. That's okay. And I didn't make my IMDb page. These are the Fed rats who did that. They're making fun of me. Okay. I was never in A Gun for Jennifer. And they're going to make it look like I put that up. And they're going to say that was the only movie I did. That's not true. And it's just sad because my wife would just go right along with it. It's just like, I would never participate in that type of schadenfreude, man. I would never do that, man. I would never do that. If I knew somebody and I knew somebody had it out for that person, I'd let them know, man. Right? I'd let them know. I'm not running with somebody's set. I got my set of balls. That's all I got. I'm not with the Lumbee people. I don't even know who they are aside from a Lloyd Oxendine. Okay? I'm a member of my family. And they know that too. They know that my family ostracized me and they don't want nothing to do with me. My family buried me. So it's okay for them to bury me too. Ain't that right? I mean, they meaning those involved. Fed rats, cops, people like Clifton. Clifton didn't break in my computer. I made a mistake on the Shed episode and I apologize if I do make a mistake. I'm man enough to apologize. But it was because his picture was coming up. And the same thing happened like when I moved to Detroit. So it was like, I'm like, oh, it's the same people again. But it was just like, it was an easy mistake to make, but I wasn't that far off because it was coming from the phone, my phone. And two things can be true at the same time. Right? John Lennon, loved his wife, but it was over. He loved his first son, Sean. I'm sorry, maybe I said Julian. No, Sean. I don't know. I can't remember. Whichever one. Right, Julian, I think. He loved him too, right? Right. My dad sired a child, a son with somebody else, right? I'm not jealous of him, I'm not jealous of anybody in the Detroit punk rock scene. I told you, Elvis, Hitler, they played rockabilly. They weren't doing anything original or new. Unfortunately, my stuff now, it doesn't sound original or new either because other people were doing it. But it's going to be in Linoleum Blown Apart. And they are trying to attribute all of my stuff to somebody else. They're going to give it to them. They're going to say that they thought of it. Sounds familiar. Ain't that right? The reason I always say I'm a Roger Avery guy is because he allegedly went to jail. He got a DUI or something. He went to jail. And you go there and you, just like me, I wrote a piece. It's called Weird Scenes Inside the Who's Gal. And you go there for stories and story ideas and jargon. You pick up things that people say, right? You pick things up, how people talk, and you can create characters like that, right? So John Lennon, he's in between his wife and he's smoking pot with Dylan, right? Right? It's like I get silent when I'm drugged up. I get violent when I'm fucked up. It's like what the Clash was saying, right? You do, it's like, with ADHD medicine, it's methamphetamine. That's what it is. I mean, look at me, dude. I'm all over the place, man. That's I asked my doctor. I'm like, dude, I need some ADHD medicine or whatever, So, whatever, man. It's up to them, right? So John Lennon, man, he's a handsome guy, whatever, man. They're in a band. It's exciting, That's how I had a girlfriend. I was in a band, you know what I mean? It's exciting. Unlike other people from ALD who dated hags, they can only get a hag. You understand? So I guess I have to be a hag with an F, just because they're dating hags, man. I didn't know that at the time. I fucking bloody well know it now. I bloody know it now. Oh yeah, I could see it clear as day. We got our equipment from the pawn shop. Steve, he was playing my old guitar and I had to buy a new one. And let me tell you a story real quick. I talk about John Lennon a lot. He did smuggle opium. It's right in the song. And, if you were with a team and you knew some other guys, maybe with connections to the Metro Times or whatever the fuck it is, then you would work with them and you could, have a great story like that. I don't know how to reach out to people like John King and all that. Milius, he's still alive. John Milius. I'm more Milius than Milius, right? I'm Smilius, right? John Milius is still alive, man. That guy was incredible. Look at Francis Ford Coppola now. He got a Razzie, right? How'd you like to go out on a Razzie? How'd you like to go out on a Razzie? Right? Because sometimes, you're not in the zeitgeist. Right? You're not in the zeitgeist of the times. They are trying to erase me. There is no doubt. I worked on Peacemaker with Bronco Lustig. He's a producer and he died in 2019. I'm sorry, I didn't know that, man. I did not know that. He produced Schindler's List. Okay? And the name Spielberg actually means Lookout Mountain. That's what it means. Right? And Jared Leto actually bought the property up at Lookout Mountain. Right? And that kind of stuff is going into Linoleum Blown Apart. The story of Walter. He has to meet these generals and he meets these guys here. You know what I mean? And these guys, they're killers. What is it Oppenheimer said? the eater of souls, or you know what I mean? These guys are serious, dangerous guys. And I got this really funny scene, anyways. So I'm doing Peacemaker, and I'm not in the credits. And I know that's by design. Ain't that right? A gun for Jennifer. Oh my God. Like, I'm really impressed. You know, a Fed rat. The whole thing was a setup. I'm not even in the film. But I still showed up to do it. You know? Just like I showed up to Hamtramck to play shows with nobody there except for the other bands that we were playing with. There was nobody there except for the other band members. And we'd still show up and play and drink beer and have a great time. That's what it's about. It's not about money. So when Sissy Doom brings up money for a disconnected records that might not even exist, because that's what my computer said. It said disconnected. Everyone on my computer. That's a police program. And it is part of, I swear, Symlink. They put me into Symlink. That's what it is. You see that? You see how easy it is? So when I'm on the east side of Manhattan shooting Peacemaker at, you know, Tom Cruise's then wife, she wasn't on set. And I was there, and Clooney was there. He's over by a table. He's bullshit. You know Clooney, man. I love his assistant, by the way. He still has the same assistant. She's hot. She's a redhead, too. She's smoking hot. He still has the same assistant. So Clooney's there. He's like hanging out and shit. And I'm on a set, and I'm, excuse me, I told you, man, my nose runs. Shit, I gotta catch it. I might have to put this down. My nose so I can tell a story, please. Jeez. Oh, that's right. I can pause it. You guys don't have to suffer through that. Okay, we're gonna see. I'm gonna try to pause it. Right? Ah, fuck it. See? Quick and painless. Yeah, that's what they're gonna do to me. Fucking 2 behind the ear. I'll be lucky. Be lucky if I get 2. So we're on the east side of Manhattan, and like I said, Clooney's there and all that shit. They're ready to go. And I'm up there, I ran something up there. And, you know, Bronco comes up to me. One of the girls over there. There was Jill Footlick, and she wasn't on set, though. She was a production manager. And Pat Kehoe. That was his name. I love Pat Kehoe. He's great, man. He was in Ryan O'Neal's The Driver. Well, he told me stories about that shoot, right? So Bronco, they're like, oh, Gordon's here. He's a production assistant. Bronco comes running up to me, and he gets on his knees. You know, I talk about, you know, LGBT stuff all the time, but no, this wasn't. Right? He gets on his knees, and he's like, Gordo, please, we need this lens. Please. We're all the way on the east side. Now, we're beyond First Avenue, and we're at 42nd Street. I don't know what the fuck is up there. There's a bunch of, you know, brownstones. I mean, it's just like, it's crazy over there. I never even went over there before or after that. I never had any reason to be over there. We were shooting over there. I think you can see the 59th Street Bridge. We're at 41st Street, right? And he's on his knees in front of me. He's begging me. He's like, Gordon, we need this lens, please, please. Because you're talking one day on Peacemaker, they were over budget, $10,000. Now that, you know, that might not be a lot to you, but you understand? In one day, you're over budget $10,000. What's going to happen? That happens the next day, right? You got to answer for your money, right? We all know that. That's why I don't handle money. If I was married, I'd just give it to my wife. I don't give a fuck about money. I don't need anything, right? So I get in my car, and it looks enough like a Crown Vic. And I fucking drove in the middle lane. It might not even be there. It's a yellow lane. It's a turning lane, but you can't turn. They give you that extra room for cops. And I was flashing my lights. I didn't have, you know, no blueberries, cherries, none of that. Just my brights. And it was from the off position. This, you gotta know this. I wasn't flashing my brights. It wasn't dark. It was daytime. And I was doing it from the off position, where they're flashing on and off. And I drove down that lane, and the parking, or the crossing guards, my mom was a crossing guard, 50 years in Detroit. No kid was ever hit by a car, not one. I I was in that lane. The crossing people, they held up traffic and let me go. And I flew down 42nd Street, my hand of fucking God. It's about honesty. Truth is subjective. Truth is subjective, guys. It's about honesty. And I drove that motherfucker, and I felt pretty damn good. I felt like a big shot. I never bragged about that. I never came back to Detroit and shot my mouth off. And now you think you're going to fucking steal from me? That's what they want. That's what they're going to do. Because if you don't have a tight family, you ain't got nothing. You ain't your background check. You ain't your fucking 23andMe, all due respect. Yeah? You're not your ancestor. We know that. That's why they brag about that shit. Oh, my ancestor, he was a general. Really? Because you get up and shovel food in your fucking mouth and play video games. I don't see no general in you. Right? Ain't that right? Ain't that right? So there's John Lennon. He's in between broads. And the guys like John King, they got the coke. Well, you see this all the time with the Craze. One of the Craze was gay. So, what do you think? He's not going to try to get laid too? Right? You think he's just going to try to get laid with other gays? No. Right? If they got a little something over on you, dangled in the carrot, it will blow your mind. It will blow your mind. You understand? It will blow your fucking mind what these people do just because if you go and have a drink somewhere. So, look, who cares if John Lennon, had a sword fight somewhere, you know what I mean? Big deal. Nobody cares, right? Ain't that right? But let me tell you something. I'll let you go a half an hour. Thank you guys very much. I really appreciate it. But when John Lennon, they left the cavern and he stepped on the stage for Beatlemania, when they became the Beatles that we know today, because they did a film called Backbeat. That's a huge inspiration for Linoleum Blown Apart, is Backbeat. It's a film. Take a look at it. Okay? When he stepped out of the cavern and onto the stage, and he was a Beatle and they were the Beatles, he was the same age as me when I left Detroit. Thank you very much for watching my show. I appreciate it more than you'll ever know.